Well, I'm Andrew Hyde. I've been married to Jo for 20 years. We both retired from teaching 8 years ago, with plans to go and see the world, see the UK, and then cancer happened. Jo's cancer required major surgery, removal of half of her tongue, and followed up with radiotherapy and chemotherapy. And at that point, I would say I was full-time caregiver to Jo for about 6 months. Not anymore. She's the new normal that we've now got is excellent. We've now become very involved in the Swallows Head and Neck Cancer Charity. We think that it's a very important cause. One of the functions of the Swallows Head and Neck Charity is to be aware of the new products, treatments and drugs that become available to help people who've gone through treatment. Recently they became aware of a treatment that may become a game changer for head and neck cancer patients, and I was delighted when they asked me to try to find out a little bit more about this. Anyone who's had treatment for head and neck cancer and has suffered the consequences of dry mouth will know what an impact it has on quality of life. Salivary glands damaged by radiotherapy can produce less saliva and often stop working altogether, and may never fully recover after radiation exposure, leading to permanent dry mouth. Dry mouth is a social disability and affects the quality of life of the patient. It also has a similar impact on the caregiver. If the patient can't go out for a meal, it's difficult for the caregiver too, so any advance that can be made in this area will be advantageous to all concerned. We spoke to a number of survivors, including my wife Jo, about what it's like to live with it, potentially for years.
Living with dry mouth is annoying, it's difficult.
It's like an handicap because you can't swallow properly sometimes, you can't eat properly sometimes.
And chicken was a no-no, beef and steak was a no-no.
It's there every day.
Beef burgers, I love beef burgers, but that was a no-no.
It makes eating out's difficult.
When I had to cook dinner, I'd have to have extra gravy on.
You have to ask for extra gravy, extra sauce, it's not the right consistency.
And you wake up at night time with a dry mouth.
It affects the sleep because at night it's worse.
I coped with it by drinking water, just accepting that it's going to be dry forever.
I think you'd agree, dry mouth is a really unpleasant condition. But is there anything that can be done about it? We may have heard of gels, oral sprays, mouthwashes, and of course carrying a bottle of water wherever you go. That is, until now. A cure? Well, we'll see. Do you know much about gene therapy? No, nor do I. A new clinical trial called Aqua 2, however, is creating a lot of interest in the medical world, and we went to Cardiff to meet a man who knows all about it. David Owens is a consultant ENT surgeon at the University Hospital of Wales and a former president of the International Head and Neck Cancer Conference. Along with his team, he's one of a number of consultants carrying out the trial in the UK.
So I got to hear about this trial from colleagues in the Swallows charity. Anyone who knows about head and neck cancer would say that dry mouth is one of the clear problems with survivors that they complain at. So I thought this was a really important trial to be involved with. I'm married with 2 kids. I support Newcastle after 70 years of hurt. It's a time for celebration. Currently, we give people a mixture of water or gels, which either don't last long enough or are too sticky to be considered appropriate. This sort of treatment and this sort of study is essential for us to be part of, and if there's more, we should also address that too. That this is a trial that, first of all, won't harm patients, is in their interests, and in the long term will save us money.
One of David's patients is Jian. She's been living with dry mouth for many years and was only too happy to take part in the trial.
Well, I was hoping that my mouth was going to get a bit more wet, that I could eat properly and sleep better in the night. Because I kept waking up with a dry mouth, and my tongue, I could literally strike a match on it, it was so dry. I had to have water by the side of me all the time. I've been married for 54 years. I have 2 children. We've got 2 grandchildren who I love dearly. I had the cancer op 15 years ago and it happened to be on my 62nd birthday. When I reached the 10 years of being clear, my dear son decided to reward me with a trip to New York. I first heard about the trial from Mr. Owens and he offered me to go in for it and I said yes, I'd be quite happy to do it. And they sent me all the forms and everything so I could understand what would be done. So I came up here into the clinical research and did so many tests and I was accepted.
Hi, John. Good to see you again. First of all, we identify someone who's eligible for the trial. Now, you know what we're up to today?
Yes.
Good. Any questions about it? No. So just as we said before, they'll then sign and consent to be part of it and then go through a batch of a number of pre-treatment visits where they have blood tests and ECGs. During all of this, we tell patients that they could have the treatment drug or a placebo drug, and they won't know unless they have a dramatic change in their symptoms which one they've had until the end of the trial. Although Meira have been very generous and suggested at the end of the trial, if you've not had the treatment drug, they will provide it for you at that stage.
On the first day I came, I was welcomed by the staff. It spoke to me about everything that would be happening. I had to drink a lot of water. Then I had blood tests, ECGs, all the different observations. And I was quite happy to sit there and let them get on with it. No, I wasn't frightened. I had every confidence in Mr. Owens because I wanted to be able to eat properly and sleep better.
Being a research nurse, my role is mainly coordinating the patient's visits and supporting the patient, doing all the procedures they have to undergo and assist the doctor as well and preparing all the paperwork and everything. I work as a research nurse in University Hospital of Wales. I'm married and I have 2 children and I'm a Christian. I spend most like Friday evenings, we have Asian Christian Fellowship, and on Sundays I go to church as well.
I heard about the trial on a Swallows online meeting. There was a presentation and I thought, it's a no-brainer. I'll apply there and then. It was very easy to apply. Select on the website to find out if you're eligible. Been married to Andrew for 20 years. We live in a very nice part of Lincolnshire. In my spare time, I enjoy gardening and walking, spending time in the caravan and on cruises. The process of the application was to answer various questions about your life and health, whether you smoked, when you finished your radiotherapy. That was the initial questions, and then later on in the process it was more detailed to see if you qualified.
The process to apply for this trial is if you appear eligible by the criteria that's been stated, and for example you should be 3 years after your cancer treatment, you should be well with no recurrences, drinking within limits is accepted, and smoking is not allowed.
It's worth knowing that there are many centres around the country carrying out this trial, and if you want to get involved but you're out of the catchment area, it may be possible for you to claim travel expenses. We went to Queen's Medical Centre at Nottingham to talk to head and neck consultant Meira GTX.
You're here today for us to talk about a genuinely exciting new trial, and this trial is assessing the outcomes of a new gene therapy that actually looks like it's going to increase the amount of saliva specifically in patients who have had radiotherapy before. Go to the website, you can self-refer through the Meira GTX website, and there are a number of centres around the UK, including Nottingham, that we will receive that referral and we'll be able to initiate screening to see if you qualify. I'm one of the ear, nose and throat, head and neck surgeons in Nottingham. I'm very happily married with 3 beautiful daughters who are the light of my life. I and all my children are Manchester United fans. There is no disputing that. Despite that, I am a big Oasis fan, and I just went to see them at Heaton Park on Sunday. So it's been a good week. This trial is fully approved by both the FDA in North America, and it has gone through full ethical approval in the UK, and it represents an international effort from clinicians and researchers to try and deliver meaningful results that we might be able to offer patients as gene therapy.
We took on the trial about a year ago. We went down to London, had all the training, came back to Nottingham and started screening our patients.
The information on the internet for the Aqua trial, and I think there was a pre-screening questionnaire on there which Mark had a look at and followed.
My wife initially applied, and then I answered all the questions that the Joe, one of the wonderful nurses at Nottingham Hospital, rang me and asked me.
Best job of my career I've ever had, and that's mainly because of the difference it makes for patients. And this is why it's so important, especially for this trial. I am a mum of 2 boys, and my husband is a teacher. I've just got an allotment and I love my allotment and growing all sorts of things. I brought one of our patients in today, some rhubarb from my allotment, and I've made gooseberry jam for the first time ever, and he's got a bottle of that as well. So they're the sort of things, you know, I like to do. They mean more to us than that, and so I'm hoping that even after they finish we'll still get to see them anyway. And obviously, until I started working on this trial, I didn't realise how much this type of condition affects someone's quality of life. So just the simple things like going out for a meal, or what they're eating, or not being able to go out with family, or, you know, all those sorts of things. It's been a real eye-opener for me to understand what this erythemia does, this dry mouth.
The Swallows website is very informative, but latest news, patient stories and all the work that the Swallows do, and I continue to follow support that you offer to patients. I think it's phenomenal. I wasn't aware when Mark was diagnosed that such an organisation as the Swallows existed, and if I had have done, I think it would have made a tremendous difference to us. Mark was diagnosed in 2018. We met in 2013 and we married in 2020. We had a little shop in Whitby called Sandgate Coffee and Delights, and we trademarked the name, and we are the Whitby Fatties. We've just retired. Mark plays a lot of golf and I'm a golf wife. Mark's a great baker. We do Whitby Fatties, brownie, bakewell, tiffin, and I've got some tiffin in there which I'm going to give you.
One of our patients travels from Whitby, which is obviously a good 2 to 3 hours drive. We do, the trial pays for any travel expenses. They also give a certain amount for refreshments when you're here as well, so tea, coffee, lunch and things like that. If you need to stay over, they also pay for any hotel costs as well in that. So, you know, there's no expense to the patient to come to Nottingham to be seen.
Procedure doesn't hurt at all, no. Slightly uncomfortable at times, but hurt no, and it's well worth it.
And we need to be able to insert tiny tubes into your mouth, into the duct to the parotid saliva gland on both sides of your mouth.
Initially getting it in may be slightly uncomfortable because they may be damaged through the radiotherapy. Pain-wise, not really, no.
And we do that on 2 visits. We do it the first time so that we can actually measure how much fluid we can fit in your parotid saliva gland. And then we do it another time when we're delivering either the gene therapy or the placebo. We don't know which.
Then they inserted the liquid, which inflated my cheeks a little bit. Uncomfortable, yes. Painful, no.
I would actually say that patients tolerate it incredibly well. It is not particularly painful as inserting the tube. Probably the most difficult thing during that process is having to keep your mouth open for a long time.
The level of pain on a scale of 1 to 10 would be probably between 0 and 1. Most of my working life I've been a coal miner, then I moved to near Whitby. Then I became a self-taught baker in a shop that me and my wife owned for 10 years. Now we're both retired. I'm an avid Sheffield Wednesday fan. I play golf most days of the week, usually getting 1 or 2 days off.
From when I got interested in this study, it was obvious from the research from pilot trials in the States, people were discussing the fact that they'd had significant increase in the salivary output. That to me was a suggestion that this is an effective drug. Now we're just going to put that little cannula in.
Oh, definitely positive. Just a few days after I had the procedure, I was able to eat a dry biscuit, not think about even drinking, just swallow it down. Oh, sleeping's much better. Much better.
The actual procedure took about half an hour.
Holding it there so it doesn't escape, and we want it to wash into all the cells, and that'll take about 15 minutes.
They explained that some people would be put on the placebo, some would have the lower dose and some would have the higher dose, but that it was a blind trial so that we wouldn't know until a year which arm we'd been on. Since the treatment, I have noticed a big change. One small landmark was that I can now lick an envelope that I could never do before.
I reckon I'm on the real thing. Definitely.
And why would you say that?
Because my mouth is constantly wet. On both sides.
The difference between placebo and the actual gene therapy is that in the placebo, it is just a liquid which looks, smells, sounds exactly like the gene therapy to the naked eye. It doesn't produce any reaction and won't change the saliva you make. And it's important that, unfortunately, we randomise patients to that.
If you happen to be on the placebo, then at the end of the trial you received the drug anyway, because it's a win-win situation.
My wife tells me that at this moment I am not drinking as much when I'm eating or sat watching TV or waking up at night for any extra water. I feel great getting back to some more normality of being able to eat and sleep.
Well, I hope that's answered some of your questions and perhaps alleviated some of your concerns. Maybe also it's encouraged you to take part in the trial. If you do want to take part, or if you just want to know more information, please scan the QR code that's on your screen now.
It's great to improve the care in terms of curing cancer, but actually improving the lives of people who've had cancer and now dealing with the outcome. I think it's something that, we can all be part of.
It's a very simple process. The actual treatment is painless and the benefits are enormous.
Well, my quality of life is better now. I'm able to eat chicken curries and manage the chicken.
This research nurse role is very rewarding, and we can see the changes in patients after giving the new medications for them, especially the Meira trial.
So this trial is definitely going to be a game changer, I think, for these patients.
I did actually have a beef burger yesterday.
I don't think I'll be able to tell you genuinely until we get the final results, but it is very, very, very convincing what patients are telling me.
This will be a monumental change in the post-treatment care of survivors of head and neck cancer.
But ultimately, we want this gene therapy to get to market. We want to be able to offer it to patients in the clinic as part of their routine treatment.
It ought to be available for everybody on the NHS.
Anybody who qualifies for this type of treatment, they should take it up because it could improve their everyday life by 50 to 100%.
So the future is very exciting for expanding the application for it and for opening up to more patients.
Anybody who's been through head and neck cancer, we don't want to just exist, we want to live in every way.
On behalf of the Swallows Head and Neck Cancer Charity, I'd like to offer a special thank you to everyone who's been involved in making this video. Thank you for watching.